are here at day 3. Has this been exciting for you? Because it has definitely been exciting for me. So let's say our theme together one more time. Overcomers for such a time as this. Yes. And who are overcomers? Me and you and you and you too. We're all overcomers and we will overcome COVID-19. So let us stand up wherever we are and sing our theme song.
Christian soldiers,
we are soldiers in the army. We have to fight, we have to die. We got to hold up the blood-stained banner. We got to hold it up until we die. We are soldiers in the army. We have to fight, we have to die. We got to hold up the blood-stained banner. We got to hold it up until we die.
this goes out to the Christian soldiers and all the remnants in the heart. If you out there, let me hear you say yeah. Come on.
from yesterday. Do you remember it? I'm sure you do. So it was you fi have faith. And that taught us that we must put our trust and faith in Jesus when we have a problem. So today, our sub-theme is go in. This will teach us the importance of obedience in our daily lives in order to protect ourselves and other members of our community. Today's lesson is packed with games, activities, art and craft, and science experiments. So let's get right into it.
Dear Lord, thank you for this beautiful world that you made. Thank you for this opportunity you have provided for us. We are happy that we can still share and learn about you during COVID. Continue to guide and protect us all and bless our VBS online. Amen.
Oh, good morning, boys and girls. I am not well. I think I have the flu. I've been sneezing into this tissue and I've been feeling so sick. Well, let me drink some water. Maybe I will feel better. That's better. Would you like to use my tissue, boys and girls, or would you like to drink from my glass of water? Of course you wouldn't want to use my tissue, or you would catch my germs. You might catch my cold. There are some diseases that you can catch by touching people who have the disease. Yes, like COVID-19. We don't shake each other's hand or hug our friends anymore because we don't know if we will give them COVID-19 or we will catch the disease from them. COVID-19 is a really strange disease. In the time of Elisha the prophet, there was also a terrible disease that you could catch that way. It was called leprosy. You could die if you had leprosy, and there was no medicine you could take for it. In today's story, we're going to find out about a man whose name was Naaman and who had leprosy. I don't know if you guys know this song, which I really, really, really love. And it goes like this. There was a man long ago. He was a leper white as snow. And he went to the fount of the old river Jordan. And he had it washed away with a dip, dip, dippy, dippy, dip, 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 with a dip, dip, dippy, dippy, dip, dip, dip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. He came up clean, clean. He came up clean, clean. He came up clean, clean, clean. Yes, that's a lovely song with a dip, dip. And you know, when you do the dip, 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 you have to dip down and get up again. So it's good exercise too. With a dip, dip, dippy, dippy, dip, dip, dip. With a dip, dip, dippy, dippy, dip, dip, dip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. He came up clean, clean. He came up clean, clean. He came up clean, clean, clean. Okay, so we now know that Naaman was not from Israel, so he didn't know about God. He was a Syrian, and he was the commander of the army for the king of Syria. The king, his master, thought that he was a great man and a mighty warrior. The king thought very highly of Naaman because the Lord had allowed his army to win the battle over Israel. Naaman was therefore an important man who seemed to have everything going for him. But notice what the end of verse 1 in the Bible says. He had leprosy. In Bible times, leprosy was an incurable disease. It was really a horrible skin disease that started out with red spots on a person's skin. Those red spots would turn into white splotches, like sores all over the body, and the skin would begin to eat away and would basically fall off your body. So persons would lose their fingers, their toes, their face would become deformed as the disease got worse. And eventually the person with leprosy would die. Not only was this an incurable disease, it was very, very contagious. So people with the disease were supposed to stay away from others. When Naaman's soldiers fought against Israel, they captured many people and brought back to Syria to be slaves. One of those slaves was a young girl. We don't know her name or we don't know much about her. Maybe she was outside playing near her home in Israel when the Syrian army rode up in a chariot and captured her and took her back to be a slave. This young girl was from Israel, and even though most people in Israel at the time rebelled against God, this young girl seems to have known and believed in God. And although she was now facing a very difficult situation by being taken away from her home and family, she knew that God had a plan for her life. This young girl became the servant for Naaman's wife. And as she served Naaman's wife, she must have sensed how worried her mistress was due to Naaman's leprosy. So one day she told her mistress, "If only my master would go and see the prophet who is in Samaria, he would cure him of his leprosy." This little girl knew that there was a God who could heal Naaman, and she knew that Elisha, who was God's prophet, could help Naaman. Naaman's wife told Naaman what the servant girl had told her. Naaman then went to the king of Syria and told the king what the girl had said. The king loved Naaman and must have been very concerned with his disease too. Surely he wanted his commander to get well so he could continue to be in charge of his army. So he said to Naaman, "By all means, go. I will send a letter to the king of Israel." He wrote the letter to the king of Israel and gave it to Naaman to carry with him. Naaman took the king's letter and brought also gifts for the king of Israel. Naaman brought 10 talents of silver, 6,000 shekels of gold, and 10 sets of fine clothing. In our day today, the gifts that he took would be valued at about 1.2 million American dollars. Do you know how much Jamaican dollars that would be, boys and girls? Yes, that would be about 120 million Jamaican dollars. So they were really expensive gifts. When Naaman arrived in Israel, he took the letter from the king of Syria and gave it to the king of Israel. When the king of Israel read the letter, he was very disturbed because he knew he had no power to cure anyone, and he did not have a good relationship with Elisha the prophet. So the king of Israel was in a predicament. He was so distraught when he saw the letter, he tore off his clothes. So someone sent a message and told Elisha. When Elisha heard about the king of Israel, the letter, and Naaman the leper, Elisha sent for Naaman. Naaman and his servants went to Elisha's home, And Elisha should have heard the noise and must have looked out of his window when Naaman had arrived. There would have been the sound of the horses, his servants would have been with him. And wouldn't you have thought that Elisha would have come out and greeted this important commander of the Syrian army? However, that was not what Elisha did. He sent someone outside with a message to Naaman, and the message was, "Go wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan River, and your flesh will be restored, and you will be cleansed." When Naaman heard the message, he left Elisha's house in anger. He was furious. He thought that Elisha would come out and greet him, say something special over him, wave his arms over him, and voila, he would have been healed. That is not what happened at all. Worst of all, Elisha's instructions to go wash in the Jordan River was a disgusting thought, as the Jordan River was a very muddy, dirty river. He knew that in Syria, where he lived, there were clean rivers that would be much better for taking a bath in. So he stomped off in a rage. Naaman's servants could have let their master blow his top and storm off and go back to Syria and die a leper. They could have kept their mouths closed and minded their own business. But they loved their master, and they did not do that. They went to Naaman and said, "Master, if the prophet had told you to do a great thing, wouldn't you have not done it? Why not do this small thing that he has asked you to do?" The servants encouraged Naaman to follow Elisha's instructions. Naaman, the great mighty warrior who was used to being honored, was now going to have to humble himself and do something that wasn't anything close to what he expected to do for his healing. He could follow the servant's advice or go off in a rage, remaining prideful and never be healed. Thankfully, Naaman chose to humble himself and go down to the Jordan River. He went into the river and he dipped 7 times. Now I wonder if you use your finger and pretend he's dipping 7 times with a dip, dip, dippy, dippy, dip, 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 with a dip, dip, dippy, dippy, dip, dip, dip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. He came up clean, clean. He came up clean, clean. He came up clean, clean, clean. Yes, what happened, boys and girls? After dipping the 7th time, when he got up back out of the water, his flesh was healed, and it was restored as new as a young child's skin. So can you imagine? He went into the water, his skin was rotting off, dropping off, and by the time he dipped in the Jordan River 7 times, his skin was new again, just like a young child's skin. Naaman was overjoyed. He was so happy because now he didn't have leprosy anymore, and he wouldn't die in such a terrible way. He went back to see Elisha to thank him for what he had done. He wanted to give him the gifts that he had brought, and he stood before Elisha and said, "Now I know that there is no God in the entire world except the God of Israel. Please accept these gifts from your servant." Elisha, though, wanted Naaman to fully understand that it was God alone who healed him. So Elijah didn't take any of the gifts because it was not he who healed Naaman, but it was God who had healed Naaman. Elisha told Naaman he could not accept a thing, And even though Elijah urged him to do so, even though Naaman urged Elisha to take the gifts, Elisha said no. Naaman learned that day that there was one true God who loved and cared for him, and Naaman's life was forever changed after that because he was obedient and followed the instructions which Elisha had given him. So Naaman returned home a happy man. No more leprosy. That was great. Now there are some questions I have for you, boys and girls. What was the name of the disease which Naaman had? That's correct. It was leprosy. And who told Naaman how to make his leprosy go away? That's right. Who is it? His wife's servant girl. What message did Elisha's servant give to Naaman when Naaman first came to Elisha? That Naaman was to go and dip in the Jordan River 7 times to be healed. And what happened when Naaman dipped in the Jordan River 7 times? His skin became clean and smooth, just as a child's skin. And why didn't Elijah accept Naaman's gifts? He wanted Naaman to see that it was God who healed him, so that Naaman would follow the Lord. Boys and girls, what if Naaman had said, "No, this isn't going to work. I am not bathing in that dirty river"? What would have happened? He would have gone home as a leper. And boys and girls, what would have happened if he had stopped dipping the 4th time? He would have gone home a leper also, because guess what? The instructions had said he was to dip 7 times. He would not have been obedient, so he would not have followed the proper instructions. Boys and girls, the cure came after Naaman followed God's instructions and dipped himself in the river 7 times. The cure did not happen because he went to the Jordan River. The cure happened after Naaman had fulfilled the command of God completely. And so it is with us. We need to be obedient to God's words, boys and girls. Because when we are obedient to God, it means that God will bless us in all we do. If we are disobedient to God, then we are going to face hardships, disappointments, diseases, and all kinds of horrible things if we do not follow God's rules. So, boys and girls, our Bible passage for today was taken from 2 Kings 5, verses 1 to 15. So that rolls right into our theme, you have faith. Let us remember always that we must have faith. Now I want us to look at our activity. I want you to draw on your finger, if you have a marker, your index finger, put 2 eyes and a mouth, and then get a glass of water and dip that index finger in the water 7 times. And your finger will be like a puppet that you are dipping into the glass of water. And this will just bring out to us our song. Dip, dip, dippy, dippy, dip, dip, dip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. He came up clean, clean. He came up clean, clean. He came up clean, clean, clean. And for the older children, I want you to do 2 things for me. I want you to look up the definition of leprosy in the dictionary and discuss what this disease was all about. And then your second activity, children, will be to look at the map and to tell me what is the distance between Aram, where Naaman came from in Syria, and Israel, or specifically the distance between Aram and the Jordan River. And I am just going to help you a little and to tell you it would have taken about 2 weeks to travel from Aram into Israel, because it was over 100 miles, and you're going to find out what is the correct distance, but it was over 100 miles. And remember, they didn't have cars and trucks and buses and trains and airplanes. At that time, they would have been traveling on horse. So it would have taken them about 2 weeks for them to come from Syria down to Israel. Okay, boys and girls, well, the theme for today was go in. So go in, boys and girls. Goodbye.
Good morning, overcomers. It's time for our memory verse, and today's memory verse is, so he went down to the Jordan River and dipped 7 times, as the prophet had told him, and his flesh became as healthy as a little child's, and he was healed. 2 Kings 5 verse 14. What does it mean? It meant Naaman had to be obedient and dipped into the Jordan 7 times before his leprosy was healed. Naaman had to humble himself and accept God's favor and mercy. In the same way, overcomers, we are to be obedient when God tells us to do something. We are overcomers in any situation when we are obedient to God's word and when we accept His love in our hearts. It's now our sticky time for us to make it sticks in our minds. I will do it alone, then we will do it together. The 3rd time, we will add some claps. After each phrase, we will do 4 claps like this. And then, at dipped 7 times, we will do 7 claps. So he went down to the Jordan River and dipped 7 times, as the prophet had told him, and his flesh became as healthy as a little child's, and he was healed. 2 Kings 5 verse 14. Let's do it together, boys and girls. So he went down to the Jordan River and dipped 7 times, as the prophet had told him, and his flesh became as healthy as a little child's, and he was healed. 2 Kings 5 verse 14. So we're going to do it together, and we're going to add the claps. So he went down to the Jordan River and dipped 7 times. As the prophet had told him, and his flesh became as healthy as a little child's, and he was healed. 2 Kings 5 verse 14. Let's try that again, overcomers. And he went down to the Jordan River and dipped 7 times. As the prophet had told him, and his flesh became as healthy as a little child's, and he was healed. 2 Kings 5 verse 14. One last time, boys and girls. And he went down to the Jordan River and dipped 7 times. As the prophet had told him, and his flesh became as healthy as a little child's, and he was healed. 2 Kings 5 verse 14. Well done, overcomers. Continue to practice this verse today and join me tomorrow for another Stick It time. Bye, overcomers.
Okay, boys and girls, so it's now snack time with Auntie Christine. Auntie Christine, what's cooking?
Hey, hi boys and girls, welcome to Creative Cooking. And today we are going to do what are we going to do, Sarah? Make some delicious food. And some delicious food. What kind of delicious food, Jada? We're going to make a poor man's pizza. Well, the proper name for it is a mini pizza. But we call it a poor man's pizza in Jamaica. And how are we going to make our poor man's pizza? Sylvia, you told me you have made it already. What do you do?
First, I'll need a slice of bread. You can use a white sliced bread or even a brown sliced bread.
Very good, right. And what do you do with the sliced bread after that? Jada?
You press it down until it's pressed.
Right, you try to press it down. How you do that? Show us how you do that. Or push it down in the middle so that, and why do we do that? So that the things won't roll off when you put it in the oven and the cheese gets soft, right? Okay, so we're going to go and show our viewers how to make a poor man's pizza. So go ahead, Zena, you make the first move.
First, I will need some ketchup.
Alright.
Any type of ketchup.
Yes. Today we have Grace ketchup, but any type of ketchup, Alaska ketchup, anyone is good. Eve.
You're gonna use it and pour it on the slice of bread, any type of slice of bread.
Yes. What happens after you pour that ketchup on the bread? Alright, nice pattern there, Jada. What do you do with it after? Okay, we're gonna put on, what on it we're gonna put on now?
Cheese.
You're gonna put your cheese on, and we have some yellow cheese here, and we have red cheese, cheddar cheese. Put on your cheese, alright? Spread out your ketchup and then we put the cheese on it. We put it closer to it. Right. And what happens after you put on your cheese? We add whatever topping we want, and that can be what kind of toppings we usually have for pizza. Pepperoni, what else? Pineapple, right. So we put on our ham or pepperoni or pineapple. Sausage, yes, we can use Vienna sausage. Today we have some chicken ham, which we cut up, and some pieces of hot dogs. So you can use anything for our toppings. You're going to put that on your poor man's pizza. I think Naaman, having traveled so far to come down to Israel, to the Jordan River to get healed, he would have been very hungry, as he would have spent 2 weeks traveling down. So a nice slice of pizza would have done him very well back in those days. Okay, so what do we do now? Do you want to put a little more cheese on it? It's up. If you have more, you can sprinkle a little more on top, right? And whatever we have yellow, white cheese, you can use other kinds of cheese. And you have to grated the cheese. So we have grated the cheese with a cheese grater. So it comes out nice and pretty when you put it down, right? Isn't that beautiful? I think it looks good. And what are we going to do now? We are going to bake it in the oven or a toaster oven. We have a little toaster oven, or we put it in the microwave, right? And we put it in the oven for about 15 minutes, not too long, or it's going to get tough and hard. Put it in the microwave for about 45 seconds, or the bread will get too tough. We just want the cheese to melt out on it and everything. Alright, so we're going to put it in and then we're going to tell you how good it tastes. Alright? Now our pizza is out of the oven and we're going to see what our cooks think. How does it taste? Let us listen, let us look. Alright guys, tell us how does it taste?
It tastes good.
And how does it taste to you?
It's phenomenal.
Phenomenal! Alright! Yay! So we did it. So boys and girls, if you have some time, it doesn't take long, just make, and you're hungry and hot and tired, make a mini pizza. It will really put that action back into you. Alright? Thank you. Bye. See you tomorrow.
Obey, obey, oh. Obey, obey, oh. Obey, obey, obey the Lord. Obey, obey, oh. Obey, obey, oh. Obey, obey, obey the Lord. We can choose to listen to and obey God. We can choose to follow all His rules. We can choose to do what's right, even when it's hard. O-B-E-Y. We will obey. Obey, obey, oh. Obey, obey, oh. Obey, obey, obey the Lord. Obey, obey, oh. Obey, obey, oh. Obey, obey, obey the Lord. We can choose to listen to and obey God. We can choose to follow all His rules. We can choose to do what's right, even when it's hard. O-B-E-Y. We will obey. Obey, obey, oh. Obey, obey, oh. Obey, obey, obey the Lord. Obey, obey, obey the Lord.
Okay guys, so now that your tummies are full, let's move on to our science experiment with Auntie Michelle. Auntie Michelle, what's up today?
Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to day 3 of Science Rocks. On day 1, we looked at how the presence of God acts as oil that calms our troubles. On day 2, we saw how our faith can be used to make even what seems impossible possible. Today, earlier, we looked in our VBS lesson at how obedience is necessary. Remember how Naaman had to obey the prophet and dip how many times? How many times? 7 times in the river to get his healing. But if Naaman had stopped short, if he had gone just one less than the 7, he would not have been healed. So today, our science experiment shows us that obedience sometimes means moving away from one thing wholeheartedly into another. And it's a simple experiment. We don't even need any chemicals or any equipment, just ourselves. Are you ready? Today we have Jada Marie and you remember Xavier, and we're going to show you how even partial obedience is sometimes not enough. You have to go all in. You have to go in it. All right? Now, all of us can stand with our feet together. Can we? Yes. And we can stand with our feet apart. You want to do that? Do it with me. Stand with your feet apart. And when they're apart, we can pull them back together. Sometimes you move one foot. Other time you can do it this way and you can move the other foot. But let me show you how you have to do 100% of one thing in order to get it happening. I want to ask my 2 helpers, Xavier and Jada Marie, to move closer to the wall with one foot touching the wall. Okay, so you're going to stand with your feet, one foot against the wall, and you're going to stretch the other foot so it's apart. That's easy, right? Everybody can do that. But here's what we're going to do. I'm going to ask you to lean against the wall so that your foot, your entire leg, your hip, your shoulder, and your head rests against the wall. Are you doing that? Boys and girls, you can do it too. It is so easy and yet so difficult. Now, without moving off the wall, I want you to now simply slide your feet together so that you're standing with your feet together. Can you do that? Can you do that? Jada Marie, move your foot. Xavier, move your foot. You can't do it, can you? Boys and girls, it is not possible. You have to not lean on the wall in order to bring your feet together. Let's show them. Lean off the wall. Bring your feet together. Easy as peasy. Let's do it again. Lean on the wall. And I want you to take a deep breath and try really hard this time. Come on, move the foot, move the foot, move the foot. Are you trying? They can't. Just like with Naaman, he had to go all the way into the water and dip 7 times in order to be healed. If you're going to put your feet together, you have to lean off the wall. You have to give up leaning on something else. What do you think Naaman had to give up to get healed? Can you tell me what Naaman had to give up to get healed? He had to give up the pride. Remember, he talked about the dirty waters. He had to give up his pride. That's all for today, folks. Next time, we'll be coming back to Science Rocks.
After all of that, let's get into some creativity with Auntie Janice. Auntie Janice, what are we creating today?
Welcome back, boys and girls. Today we are going to do another craft for you, and we hope you have been enjoying your art and craft session so far. Again, I have Zoe with me, Zoe Marie, and we're going to be presenting to you today the story of Naaman. Remember yesterday we did our centurion helmet, which harkened to our theme of having faith. Today we're going to look at another man of faith, another man who was someone who had a lot of authority, and he was sick. He had leprosy. Now leprosy really is an old disease that I don't think it exists anywhere. Well, it doesn't exist in Jamaica anymore. But in those days, leprosy was incurable, and the persons who had it lived a miserable life because most of the times they were driven from their community and there were leprosy colonies. But Naaman was still living with his family, and he had a servant girl who was a Jew, and she advised him that he could go to Elisha, and Elisha could heal him because Elisha was a man of God. So when Naaman went to Elisha, Elisha gave him some instructions, and in fact Naaman found the instructions a little bit hard to follow, but he decided that he was going to be obedient and he was going to follow the instructions. So today we're going to look at that story, and we're going to create a craft that will help us to understand. So we need a cup, we need a craft stick, we need glue, and we need our cutout of Naaman. Now, there are two pictures of Naaman here, and they are two different pictures. There's one of him with the leprosy, and there is one of him where he is healed. And what you have to do is color it, just like this. Go ahead and color. See on the one with, it says Naaman with leprosy, we have the red marks on him to show, and then Naaman without, when he's healed, we have it. So she's going to color, and while she's coloring, I'm going to cut mine out. I'm going to cut out a set so you can practice your hand-eye coordination, children. And what we're going to do after we've colored and cut out our Naaman, we're going to glue them to our craft stick, ensuring that they overlap and they are neat. So I'm going to go ahead and, or I think I'll let Zoe glue Naaman on. I would suggest to use your school glue for this because you're doing paper to wood, so it will be easier if you use your school glue. In the meantime, while she's doing that, for those of you who love to color, for you younger ones, here is a picture of Naaman dipping in the River Jordan. You can go ahead and color this. So Zoe is gluing Naaman back to back on the craft stick. Here we have Naaman with leprosy and Naaman healed. Glue up here so that it stays together. Having glued your Naaman, this next step is to take your cup and cut a slit in the bottom of the cup. Now, we're using a craft knife, but we don't suggest that you babies use a craft knife. If you're going to be doing this craft, as a matter of fact, up to probably about age 10, you should ask your parents to help. Zoe is older than age 10, so Zoe would go ahead and cut. Yes, be very careful because a craft knife is very sharp. Okay, just check to see if your stick will hold. So what we're going to do is insert the stick. Now the cup represents the River Jordan, and you can go ahead and put, River Jordan wasn't clean. It was one of Naaman's problems. So you can go ahead and put like anything you want to put in there, like tissue or tissue paper, the wrapping paper that you use. You could put different colors in there. That will show that the water was dirty. And we're going to turn it this way with Naaman being sick. And we're going to move it up and down 7 times because Naaman dipped 7 times. And on the 7th time, you flip it around and he is healed. Remember to use a relatively small cup because the crab sticks are not that long, and you need to have Naaman out of the water showing that he is fully healed. So there you go, this is Naaman. Our title today is Go In, and this is what Naaman had to do. Naaman had to be obedient and go dip in the Jordan River 7 times, not 5, not 4, not 6, 7 times. He was obedient. He went in even though he found it. Actually, he said, but why do I have to use the Jordan River? I mean, there are rivers in my country and they are much cleaner. But he was obedient, and he did what he was told to do. And he came out of the Jordan River fully healed of leprosy. Now, I don't know if you know where going comes from. When COVID came to Jamaica in the first instance, of course, we were all told that we were to go in and stay in order not to spread the virus. And there was a person, a young man, who figured that he was going to be disobedient, and so he kept saying, "Me not going, me not going." Well, the police went for him, and he actually had to make an apology on the TV and on social media to say, "Me a go in, me a go in." So this is it. You've got to be obedient, and in this COVID time, it is extremely important for all of us to be obedient about wearing our masks, about checking our temperatures. We checked our temperatures today to ensure that we were not contaminating each other. So here's your craft for today. I hope you enjoy dipping Naaman. Okay. Thank you very much. Did you have fun?
Yes.
Thank you so much for tuning in to see us today, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye bye.
choking little Israelite ravine. His soldiers said, come on, boss, what is there to lose? Stop the cussing. was healed, felt like a 10-year-old. Have some treasure, it's my pleasure. But the man of God said, all your gold just leaves me cold. Come on and praise the Lord. 7 times in the river, 7 times in the river, head to toe, in you go. 7 times in the river.
So our tummies are full. We've done some science experiments and some art and craft. So Auntie Cheryl, what kind of games are we going to play today? Boys and girls, welcome to day 3 of fun and games. Are you ready to have fun? Well, we are ready. Yesterday we looked at You Fi Have Faith. Today we are looking at Go In. And today we are going to play Simon Says. And I know, boys and girls, that you know that game all too well. So this game talks about obedience. So I am going to give some instructions, and my helpers, they will try and obey those instructions. And as you know, that when I say stop, they are to continue, because they must only stop when I say Simon Says, or go when I say Simon Says. Are you ready?
Yes.
Simon Says walk. Jump. Put your hands on your head. All right, let's go again. Simon Says walk. Simon Says jump. Stop. Simon Says put your hand on your tummy. Okay, so Swenya, Simon Says walk forward. Walk forward. Simon Says stop. Simon Says dip. Stop. Simon Says stop. There you have it, boys and girls. If you want to see changes in your life when you are having issues, then you have to obey the word of God. Now, did you have fun?
Yes.
Well, join us tomorrow for another day of
Fun and games.
So, our mission, our challenge for today, for the bigger kids, we're going to list some good things that a person in our life has taught us, and some of the things that we have also learned from the Bible. So would you remember these good things if you were taken away to a foreign country where no one else believed in your God? Would you? Well, you're going to write them down. Write notes to your parents or your church school teacher, and begin the note by saying, "Thank you for helping me. I will always remember these good things that you have taught me." And for the younger ones, you're just going to tell them. You don't have to write it down. You're just going to say how you feel. So boys and girls, these are the materials that you're going to need for tomorrow. 1 bottle of Pepsi, 2 sheets of paper, a wooden clothespin, a sheet of paper or the template for Jonah and the whale, a coloring page, and a slice of bread. So we will see you tomorrow. So boys and girls, remember to go in and obey the word of God. And so we're gonna leave here today, but remember that you are an overcomer. So even as an overcomer and you want to help other people to overcome, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. And we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, boys and girls, so it's that time of the day again for prizes and giveaways. So remember to type your answer in the chat really fast so you can win something. So the first question today is, what disease did Naaman have? Question number 2, who told Naaman how to make his leprosy go away? Question number 3, what message did Elisha's servant give to Naaman? Question number 4, what happened when Naaman dipped in the Jordan River 7 times? Question number 5, why didn't Elisha accept Naaman's gift? And question number 6, in what country was the Jordan River located? Okay, boys and girls, all the best. Remember, type your answers so you can win a prize.